Trump won the US election. Hopefully, 4 years of controversy? Here's a thought.
Uncle Sam's top hat is star-spangled, and he wears a red bow tie with affection. But his stripy trousers are now entangled and checkered from the US election. Yes, indeed. Well, the controversy continues. Donald Trump
Yes.
starting now to nominate his cabinet, and of course, the scrutiny is intense. What's evident is that there are now claims of misconduct from his defense secretary. Pete Hegseth denies a sexual assault allegation, and the potential Attorney General Matt Gaetz is at the center of an ethics investigation. But it doesn't go off and stop there. Trump's health secretary nominee, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., is facing severe criticism for his vaccine skepticism. Well, it goes even more than that, because Mr. Pete, it does seem as though that Donald Trump is going to reform the US government. I ask you this simple question. Should Uncle Sam be worried?
Well, Mr. Mark, here's the thing. Uncle Sam should be very worried. If by Uncle Sam you mean the American government as it has been, the deep state, the bureaucracy. It's interesting that there's a phrase used by one of the media companies, I believe it's the Wall Street Journal, democracy dies in darkness. And what you could say is bureaucracy dies.
Yes, that's true.
Not in darkness, but in the bright sunlight of the Trump presidency. Because what's happened is the bureaucracy has been running everything. When Trump won the election in 2016, pretty convincingly, he didn't know what on earth he was doing. He didn't expect to win. I think I'm right in saying it was the whole president run for Trump was just a publicity stunt to get a better deal with the Apprentice and get back in there. Something like that. He has admitted that he didn't expect to win. He wasn't ready. He handed over really the transition to his presidency to the deep state. This time, he's ready. So Uncle Sam, if that's what we mean by Uncle Sam, as the deep state, needs to be very, very worried, because the over 50% of the US electorate that voted for Trump want him to do it. They want him to change the way that the country is run. They want Uncle Sam to be worried.
Well, what's interesting is that so far, what we know as the time of this recording is that Trump's nominees will need to be confirmed by the Senate. However, let's just pick out some of them. So the defense is Pete Hegseth. You've got state being Marco Rubio. You've got Attorney General. Yes, folks, sit back. Matt Gaetz. And then, of course, obviously, you have the Health and Human Services. I don't know how much human will be involved with old Bob Kennedy there, or F. Kennedy Jr. But then, of course, we have some other ones. So Veterans Affairs, Doug Collins, and Homeland Security, Christine Naomi. Now, I will say that this is my take. This is my take on this. I think that you're right, that Trump is basically, it's chaos by design. And what I mean by that is that he is deliberately going to be disruptive to reform the way that the US is actually run. You mentioned about the deep state. Let's keep it simple. The way that the US has been run has been stagnant. It's not been productive. If you look at the way the economy has gone, you could argue that's down to policies from maybe Joe Biden or many other predecessors. But the fact of the matter is, the US at this moment in time does need radical change. Now, in order to make change, you need a very forthright, clear-minded individual. And I think you're right that Donald Trump comes with controversy. But in the question that we posed in the title of this particular episode, does that mean that there will be controversy going forward? Yes. Now, whether it means on the positive side, hopefully, that the reforms will make government much more efficient. over time, whether it means that actually you can address the economy, the challenge they've got on inflation and many other things. But here's some of the other controversial things that he has to tackle. Immigration. He made very clear during the whole build up to the final election that he was going to basically eradicate illegal migrants and many others. I think that that's something that he needs to address.
Yes.
And
I think it is. I just want to clarify, when you say eradicate illegal migrants, you don't mean kill them.
Not necessarily, although let's see what happens. But the bottom line is, seriously, it's basically redeploy them, put them somewhere, and stop the influx that is going on in the United States. Now, of course, this is an episode based around the United States, and we know that obviously other countries are struggling with this, United Kingdom in particular. Yeah, but coming back to what Trump is saying is basically you need stronger policies, and you need to be able to implement those policies effectively. We've not seen that in the last 4 years. So I think that's one thing. Now, here's another bit of controversy. I think that what we've noted, you mentioned that in 2016, Trump wasn't prepared. I think that actually, ironically, he's better prepared, not just domestically, but internationally. I think that what we will see in the controversy of some of his government is how he will tackle Ukraine and the conflict that's going on over there. And I wonder what your thoughts are in terms of what that might look like going forward.
Well, here's the thing. Yes, Trump has there's basically a Trump doctrine that you can take from his publicly avowed stances on the various important issues today. And in terms of his international policy, it would be peace through strength, which it isn't unique to Trump, this phrase, but it's pretty unique amongst politicians today and actually been put into practice. So, if he puts that into place, it will be, it would have, as it did during his first presidency, a great effect. So the point I'm making here is that Trump has great intuition into how things should be run. So even though he wasn't ready in 2016, just looking back on his presidency there, apart from, I think he really dropped the ball on the COVID response.
Yeah.
But generally on his whole presidency, he was the most effective, I would say the best president in my lifetime. And I'm nearly 60, just to give viewers and listeners an idea of what I'm talking about. I'm saying he's that good. Now, looking at you, so what will that look like? Well, I think what it will look like, the Trump doctrine abroad is that peace through strength. It'd be really good for the whole world, because the shipping lanes, it seems like a prosaic thing, the shipping lanes will be kept safe.
Well, quite. Now,
puts prices down everywhere, keeps the whole economy going. Yes. And in terms of the economy of the US, he is very strong on what I call judicial use of, as in thought through use of tariffs, not using tariffs in order to make money, using tariffs in order to dissuade people from unhelpful behavior. Yeah. So, for example, if he thinks, you're taking production of cars from the US to China, for example, something that Trump himself has mentioned, he will put tariffs on Chinese cars. Not that the Chinese cars can't be made and sold to the US. You have to make them in the US to sell them. And so that sort of thing is going to make the economy of the US strong again, and unable to be influenced or to be bullied by other countries. Therefore, strong economy in the US, wealthier, better investment in the military, better able to do peace through strength, better for us, better for the world. So that's the way I see it going forward. Yes, controversy, but with those fundamentals in place, it's just a good thing.
Well, I agree. And just another perspective, this sort of an extension of what you said. I think that if Uncle Sam is thinking of investing in business, this might be a very good time, because I think that with also cutting corporate tax down, he's very much, of course, in favor of business people, entrepreneurialism, and driving the economy, and also helping people to get jobs. You need a freer market. You need to reignite that market. And I think that he's in a very good position, where I think if you looked at the way the US is investing, or potentially investing in the years to come, I think this is a good time for them. They will be, and they always will be, and certainly I think in most people's living time, for the foreseeable future, a powerhouse when it comes to manufacturing. Yeah, we know that, to your point, that they are challenged. Chinese imports is one thing. There are also other countries as well, because you can't ignore other powerhouses like India and many others. But competition is good. But the way that you free it up is cutting the taxes down, which he is intending to do, investing in the right places, and having a much more open market. Now, I think it would be very interesting to see when these tariffs or no tariffs, where they actually appear. But I do think that one other question just to ask. So do you think that Uncle Sam and Britannia will still have a good relationship as a result of Trump being president?
Well, let's put it this way. Possibly. I think that he doesn't have a good relationship with the current administration in Britain, and not because they've insulted him. I mean, they have. Trump doesn't like that sort of thing, but because they're fundamentally opposed to some of his main policies. Whereas Nigel Farage, his friend, as Donald Trump has referred to him, as an important political figure in Britain, now an MP.
And significant for Nigel Farage.
Yes,
Trump.
It could well be that if Nigel Farage is able to influence what Britain does and influence what Trump does, that you could end up with a very good trade deal, even without Trump. Even without Farage having an official role, that could be the case, and it could well augur well for Nigel Farage going forward in British politics. But that's by the by. It seems to me, because of Trump's, if you just look at his comments, the fact that he owned in Scotland, he has the connection that his mother was born in Scotland.
Yep.
And he owns quite significant properties and businesses in Scotland, to its golf courses. And his fondness for the royal family, which I know people have this love affair with our royal family, and it can really influence them. And I think Trump has talked very movingly of his relationship with the now deceased Queen Elizabeth, and seems to have a fondness for the royal family. So I can see it working out very well, despite our government here in Britain, and there being a trade deal which would work out very well for Britain, and will vindicate the fact that we left the European Union, because I don't see such a fondness for other European countries apart from Britain. So I think Britain is in a good position because Trump is now in power. I think other people like Biden, who had a bias towards Ireland but not towards Britain, and other Democrats were very against it. So it could look good for Britain. And Mark and Peter, we're based in Britain, so of course to us that's a good thing as well.
Well, I'm very keen. Why doesn't Uncle Sam give us a call? And
give us a call. We'll tell you all about this. Yeah. Yes, I mean, it's interesting. Just I guess in closing, just reflecting on the result of this election and what happened and why Trump won and all it's like this. Let's just look back. I've got this way of summarizing. If you look back, going back over the elections over the years, you had Obama playing the race card and getting into power, but then really abusing that position. You had Hillary Clinton and then Kamala Harris attempting to play the feminism card, and then the Republicans come in and play the Trump card, and that's the one that wins. And it just, seems that they've been trying to divide people with these with identity politics, and encouraging people to to trumpet, if you excuse the pun, their victim status in order to get support of the government. Whereas Trump comes in and says, no, if you work hard, you'll get more of your own money. We're going to reduce tax. We're going to reduce regulation. And suddenly there's a breath of fresh air. So that's the way I see it. Like I said, the Trump card is the one that trumps everything.
Well, let's see.
What do you think? Closing thoughts.
Well, I believe, I come back to my chaos by design, controversy by design. I think ultimately the US will go through a lot of turbulence. It won't like it, but I think it will come out reflecting on that actually there's a path to success. Let's see.
Yes. Well, that's it from Mark and myself for this week. Thanks very much for listening. Don't forget to subscribe. Go to markandpete.com and just check you are subscribed, and we'll catch you next time.